This is Hard Parking, brought to you by Right Honda and Right Toyota out of Scottsdale, Arizona. I'm your host, Jay Finning, recording this on Saturday, June 14th. A lot of stuff going on today, but more importantly, personally, happy Father's Day tomorrow to all you fathers out there, you father figures out there, you mothers pulling double duty. Father's Day is a big deal. In a few minutes, I link up with our good friend, Wes Tinkersley, to talk about what Father's Day means to him. We share some thoughts, as well as Drew Bunkley, friend of the show, to talk about his Corvette experience going out and driving the Corvette E-Ray, as well as some car news. But first, there's a lot of stuff going on. You have the ICE riots, protests, depending on who you are and how you think, what you've seen, where you've been, breaking out in all the different cities. Meanwhile, Israel and Iran are in a full-scale war. Missiles for the last few days have been flying back and forth. I don't even think it's on the news here. The only thing that covers the news here are the riots and the protests. And today being Saturday, our current president's birthday, and also being lauded as No King's Day. So you have organized protest all around the United States. Hundreds of thousands of people all over the place, hopefully mostly peaceful. I got to be careful here in how I proceed because, we also had a Minnesota senator, lawmaking senator, get murdered. Her and her husband got murdered last night. Melissa Hortman and her husband were shot dead, assassinated. The shooter went to John Hoffman, which is another representative of the state of Minnesota, and tried to kill he and his wife, where he was intercepted. The shooter was intercepted by local authorities. He fled on foot. As of the time of this recording, at almost 3 o'clock in the afternoon, Pacific time, on Saturday, June 14th, he is still at large. There's a manhunt for Vance Bolter, age 57. And as you would expect on social media, on X, I don't know what TikTok is talking about. I don't know what Facebook. All that stuff is covered with all this King's Day stuff, and I'm going to talk about that in a second as well. Let's continue this about Vance. As was being reported by CNN, he fled on foot, and in his vehicle, they found a list of 70 people. They're not releasing any of the information. He was formerly employed by Minnesota Governor Tim Walz, as was Vance Bolter's wife. What that really means, again, I want to be very careful. Social media is assuming a lot of things. The Republicans are saying one thing, the Democrats are saying something else. All I know is 2 people lost their lives, 2 other people are in the hospital, and everything's going crazy. And so I don't want to speculate. It's still too early to really know what's going on. According to CNN, Tim Walz is one of the 70 people on that list. And this list comprises of all sorts of people, according to reports. But they found flyers for the No King's Day, and I find that wildly, I wouldn't say convenient, but it's a coincidence, potentially. And so it makes you step back and wonder what the hell is really going on. One day we're going to have a conspiracy corner on this podcast, and it's going to be a lot of fun. I don't want to play conspiracy theorist today. So hopefully they get that figured out. They get this suspect arrested. Governor Tim Walz has urged everybody in Minnesota, government officials, to stay away from protests today. Stay away from federal buildings, state official buildings, and it's just a weird time. Let's get to these No Kings protests. One of the things I find amazing is I think for most of us, we would assume that these are stemming from the ICE raids, most recently LA. But this has been in place for a while. I do question, because it is primarily funded by Walmart heiress. I don't know her name right off the top of my head. I'm not looking at the flyer, but it's at the bottom of the flyer. A lot of Hollywood elites were talking about this day. And here's the thing. It is your right to get out there and protest, peaceful protest. But where are we drawing the line in peaceful? Because you have all these different narratives on social media and the news, depending on what outlet and what you're looking at. It's peaceful and everything you're seeing is BS, or it's incredibly violent and they keep saying it's peaceful, which is BS. My thought, as is the same for 2020 riots, is it's always contained, typically, not taking King's Day aside, because it's a very public thing today. But let's take the ICE raids. It's usually a few city blocks, maybe a square mile or so, where all hell is breaking loose, and the rest of the city is usually pretty calm and chill, and people are going about their business. So depending on where you are in a city, it's either all hell's breaking loose, or there's no reason. I don't understand why people are so upset. They're lying to you. I'm standing in front of these police officers. There's nothing going on here. But where do you draw the line between peaceful and aggressive? What's peaceful? Not physically harming other people. Because if you watch almost any demonstration, not even this one, any demonstration, you have people verbally abusing, yelling, inciting, trying to get a rise out of people, the police, the Marines, the National Guard. That's not peaceful. Getting in people's face and yelling things isn't peaceful. Standing in front of vehicles isn't peaceful. Blocking traffic isn't peaceful. It's getting in the way. Peaceful is standing to the side, saying what you need to say. Don't hurt anybody. Protect people that get out of line so they don't get hurt. Before we get this word from Arcus Foundry and Sparkforge, is how did we get here? Again, no King's Day is planned for a long time. And one can argue, I suppose, that what's going on in LA, Seattle, New Jersey, Tucson, Arizona, probably Dallas, Chicago, organized. I think you have a percentage of people that live in the area that are genuinely protesting, and you have a lot of agents that are brought in. It's been proven, follow the money, and their only job is to exacerbate the situation and cause havoc. Whether you like Donald Trump and ICE or not does not mean that it's okay to break into CVS and steal all the prescription medicine, break into Nike and steal all the shoes, break into Apple Store and steal all that. What does one thing have to do with the other? And for those people who want to protest, I think it does them a disservice when this other group is leaning into them and stealing and breaking all this stuff. Because now it's all you protesters, you're breaking all this stuff. It's your right to protest. You're never going to see me out there doing that. It takes a lot to get me to that point. But how do we get here? My thought, and in a moment I'll play for you what David Sachs said on what happened in LA. No one's brought this up. This is how we got here, in my opinion. And if you really think about it, you'd be hard-pressed to disagree with me. Remember when Trump was running for president and Tom Homan was getting up there talking about the deportations and everything they're going to do? You remember that? It's hard to forget. And once Trump was elected, the first thing they started to do was get to work. And you have these sanctuary cities, all these mayors and senators, police officials got on the news, got on social media and said, we're not going to cooperate with you. If you come to our city, you're going to have problems. You don't have the backing of our local police force. We're not going to tell you when we have detained somebody who's done some criminal activity. We're not going to help you. Good luck. We dare you to come to our city and try to take our people. That's the root cause analysis. Tell me I'm wrong. Just put your thinking hat on, because part of problem resolution is trying to figure out what is the root cause analysis. Now, one could say the root cause analysis is letting in all these illegal immigrants, but how did we get to this part? Because no one can dispel the argument, okay, well, Barack Obama deported, 4 million people, and somebody else deported 10 million people, and somebody else deported whatever, because you have no defense if that's, if you say this is the worst thing that's happened in history, once someone throws those numbers at you, it's like, well, maybe what's going on isn't so bad. Oh, then this guy, they get in front and they grandstand it and they rub it in your face. Okay, maybe they do. I'm not going to disagree with that. And I sure as hell don't agree with just going to any random job site and just searching everybody, because they did say that they're going to go after all the criminals first and see where we go from there. And you could think that they didn't, but if you really think about it, that's exactly what they tried to do. And they were told that, well, we don't really keep records on who's who. And you get cities like New York that's saying, okay, well, your job is to, when you detain somebody for doing something that's not of legal status here, and they did an illegal activity, you can't release them back on the streets. That's how we got here. And so what does ICE do? Christine Noem do? They get warrants. They find out who these people are, and they raid their job sites. Tom Homan said that we're going to find the criminals first. One thing I disagree with is they're going to these job sites and they're just rounding up everybody, whether they're serving a warrant or not. So it's almost like, okay, you 3 people, we're here for you. What about you 6? Show us your ID. Oh, you're not? Well, you're coming with us too. Not a big fan of that. But again, I say this whole thing started when these mayors, I'm not going to say what party affiliation they are. I hate being that person. These mayors, these police chiefs, these city council people, they get up there and say, we're not going to help you do your job as a federal government. You come to our city, you're going to find out we're not down. And so when this stuff starts happening in LA, Gavin Newsom, Bass, they're doubling down. They're not saying stop this. They're not saying, hey, people, act civil. They're saying, you keep coming and we're going to keep fighting. What do you think that does to people that are so easy to radicalize? And that's how we got here. Now, I'm going to put my headphones on and I'm going to play for you a clip that David Sachs from the All In, very well informed. I talk about this podcast every once in a while. But according to him, this is how we got here. And keep in mind, and I don't know if they showed it on the news, before things got nutty in LA, it was reported that a business owner had locked ICE into a warehouse and the FBI was called in LA to come break them out. This is what started all this. It's interesting about the warehouse. I don't know if it's the same warehouse that you're about to hear about in this clip, but what do you think caused that? So if you lock them in and let's say there's an organized cell of anti-ICE people, because there is, they beat ICE to the punch. Every time ICE goes somewhere to grab people, there's already hundreds of people there waiting to protest, blocking vehicles. So when you have these lunatics, I'm going to call them lunatics, call them idiots, call them low class, low IQ individuals, getting in the roadways, standing in front of the trucks, blocking them. Then you have people throwing rocks, bricks, big chunks of cement. Is that peaceful? If you're literally taking rocks and chunking them at police vehicles, at the Border Patrol, at ICE, whether you agree with what they're doing or not, that's peaceful? They're lucky that these officers didn't get out of their vehicles and arrest them on the spot. I'm glad they didn't, because it would have been even worse. But I don't know if they even showed that on the news. You can slide into my DMs and ask me. I'll find the videos and send them to you. And no, they're not fake videos. All you saw were people jumping in front of cars and beating up cars and breaking shit. And that's how we got here. But they've been following the money, and a lot of this is well funded. And we have to be careful. We have to be careful what incites us to take action. Because I have former coworkers, colleagues, probably friends that are out there today on No King's Day protesting. I've seen it, but they aren't the people, hopefully, that are getting out there, fully covering their faces up and causing chaos. They're peaceful. They're saying whatever they're going to say, talk whatever shit they're going to talk. Fine. It's their right. So this is what David Sachs says. We're going to take a listen. And I'm not telling you what to think about any of this. I just want you to think a little bit more. Think logically, not emotionally. Because like I said, I'm not, if they're really just ransacking these places, I'm not a fan of that. I think they need to find a way to do it. But also at the same time, a lot of these people who are here, you come in, you get your interviewed, you get your court date. They are finding that the court dates are 5 and 6 years in the future. So you're telling them they could stay here for 6 years. And that's the gray area that kind of, I get it, a gray area. If I'm waiting, if I'm here for asylum and you tell me that I can hang around for another 5 or 6 years, technically I'm illegal, but also technically you've given me permission to be here. And so It's a gray area.
Just to fact check, one thing you said in the introduction, you mentioned this fashion wholesaler that along with Home Depot, you made it sound like these raids were just happening willy-nilly, like there's some big roundup where they were just busting into places and seeing who's illegal, checking people's papers. That's not what happened. This fashion wholesaler is a money laundering operation for the Mexican cartels. This is according to Tom Homan. And many employees there are involved in very serious crimes, drug, gang, and violence, murder, child rape. And there were warrants for their arrest. So the way that this whole thing started is ICE was serving criminal warrants that state and local authorities have no right to resist. That's how this started. It wasn't random roundups. Okay.
There's reporting.
And so if what David Sachs has said is true, and there's no reason for me not to believe him, again, very reputable source, very reputable podcast. And as you can see there, he and one of his other co-hosts are probably debating all this stuff because there's plenty to debate. I get it on both sides. But if what he is saying is true, and they were raiding a place ran by the cartel and had people in there with warrants, think back to what I said earlier. In California, LA is just as egregious as any of them. We will not cooperate with the federal government's efforts to remove these people. You have to come in and get them. And so that's what they did, and that's how we got here. Business tech feeling whack? Too many tools, too much chaos, not enough time? Arcus Foundry is here to fix that. With SparkForge, you get a unified platform that connects everything you need. Your website, social media, phone systems, and more. There is no need for an expensive IT department or dealing with a bunch of separate systems. It truly is the all-in-one solution that saves you time and helps your business run smoother. Head over to arcusfoundry.com and use the code HARDPARKED to get your first month free. Upgrade your tech and get back to business. Right now, we are being joined by my dear friend, co-host of One Drink Wednesday, depending on which week you guys are checking this out at, Shaping Success with Wes Tankersley, Shaping Success Treasure Valley. Shade Bros is his new business. We're going to talk about Father's Day. Wes, welcome back to the show. It's been a while.
Yeah, I was thinking about it when you asked me to do this, and I was like, fuck, I take so much of your time anyway. So it's good to get another hour of your time.
You don't take any of my time, man. But, you tell the story that on Father's Day, it was my Father's Day episode that kind of drew you to the podcast. And since then, just a natural friendship occurred over bourbon and stuff. And for new listeners to the show, I used to edit Wes's podcast, and he used to pay me with bourbon.
Yeah.
Which is a lot of fun. And then, of course, One Drink Wednesday kicked off. But I haven't had you on for Father's Day, and you were a father of two.
Yep.
You are a son. You do have siblings. I guess I would start off by saying, and we're recording this on Saturday, June 14th. Father's Day is officially tomorrow. And what does Father's Day mean to you, Wes?
It's kind of weird. I don't know. I mean, it's like I'm very proud to be a father, but I feel like now, after 11 years of having, my daughter's 11 and my son is 3, it's just an everyday thing, right? Like you just do what you're supposed to do. And I was thinking, my wife always asked me what I want to do for Father's Day. She always usually lets me go golfing, and I didn't want to make a tea time this year. So it's just kind of I don't know. I mean, it's a day to be thankful for your father. I'm really grateful for my father. Unfortunately, he lives far away, and so I don't really get to do anything with him. But I'll give him a phone call tomorrow, and my wife's going to take me out to my favorite distillery, and we're going to go hang out there for a little bit. They have Silo Saturdays, so it's kind of cool. We'll do that. But I mean, to me, it's part of life, right? It's something that you do on a daily basis. And I don't necessarily feel like I need credit for it, but that's kind of the way it is with me, birthdays are that way, Christmas are that way, that type of thing. So I don't know.
How's your relationship with your father?
Good. It's interesting. I think you and I have had conversations before. Sometimes we don't see eye to eye. Sometimes we butt heads. But when I was a kid,
seems like a very normal father-son situation.
Yeah, but it was different.
Different parts of life.
Yeah, it was different because I was more of a mama's boy growing up, and my dad, I was an athlete. My mom grew up her dad was a parks and recreation director, and he put her in all kinds of activities and stuff like that. And I played football and I played baseball and I played basketball. Like I played sports. And my dad grew up on somewhat of a farm. My grandfather, his dad was an entrepreneur. So like he owned a hardware store and a mobile gas like distributorship. Like he drove around a big mobile oil truck and like filled up in the town that he lived in different gas stations. And then he had his own service station with like the, you know, like the glass bubble thing. Like they fill up the glass thing and then the gas comes out like the old school fucking gas machines.
Right. Yeah.
And then he owned a tire store and all this stuff. So like my dad was just basically blue collar work on the farm, you know, like they had 40 acres, they had cows and sheep and stuff. And and then he hunted and fished and I didn't really enjoy those things. So my other two brothers, my little brother, big hunter and fisher, but he played sports too. And then my older brother, kind of the same thing. But my dad and my older brother were really close. And my little brother and my dad, because he hunted and fished and all that stuff and was really into that, they were close. It almost felt like my dad, for me, was out of his comfort zone when he was doing things with me, like taking me to, and I remember all the things he did with me, because like he would go out and I'd ask him to go throw me batting practice or take me to go hit, or we'd go to the driving range and he'd do those things with me, but it just didn't seem very comfortable to him. You know, he'd go out and be wearing his Wranglers and in a, you know, button-up shirt throwing me baseballs and you know, just not very stereotypical of what you would think of one of those guys, but he did it. And that was the thing. Like he took his time. He was tired as hell because he'd get up in the morning at 5 o'clock. He'd drive 45 minutes to work all day. And in the summer when it was like super farm season, like when they had to do a lot of things, he didn't get home till 7 or 8 o'clock at night, eat dinner, go to bed, wake up, do it again. And you didn't see him a lot. So it was, for him to do those things for us, he had to really go out of his way to do it. And I sit here and think about some of the things I do for my kids and I'm just like, man, I need to be a better dad.
Well, you know, you're in provide mode. You know what I mean? You're in full provide mode. And before we go any further, do you want to tell us what you're drinking this fine evening?
Oh, I got a little Elmer T. Lee here. You know, our buddy Chase sent me that bottle of Elmer T. Lee. He's kind of funny. He also sent me this glass. So I don't know what it's called, but it's a type of Glencairn and it's pretty cool looking. But he sent me the Elmer T. Lee. It seems like every time I ask him for something that specific, like he showed me, he got the bottle. He always sends us these pictures of, look what I picked up today. And I wanted some Elmer because I can't find it here. And so he calls me a baby sometimes when I ask him for stuff, and then he sends it to me anyway. And so he got me a bottle of the King Ranch that he got you as well. And he's like, how many of these do you want? And I was like, just one. He goes, come on, take two. And I'm like, nah, I want something else. Maybe a bottle of Stag, because I can't get Stag here either. And so like he's just kind of been playing me with the Stag. And yesterday he sent me a freaking video of like the Stag, like he's rolling up on it and rolling it back down. But he's like, okay, baby, you can get your Stag.
That's funny. Yeah, he's a good guy. And he likes, I think it's exciting. Like, you know, we'll get back to the Father's Day stuff really quick, but when you're into something, whether it's, you know, hunting and fishing like your old man, you know, baseball, you know, like you and Lewis in the DMs, you guys hit it off, and even bourbon. You know, a lot of people like to drink, but people don't really understand what it is to kind of get into the spirit. So then when you find somebody that has the same passion, I mean, that's, you know, Chase has got a good circle of people there. Yeah. I've hung out with them. They're my friends too, but I think that's where a lot of that comes from. With your old man though, you know, do you think that when your younger brother was born and got old enough and wanted to go hunting and fishing and doing stuff, he was like, oh, thank God, because he was kind of, I think you pulled him out of his comfort zone a little bit. And, you know, you said your older brother and your younger brother got kind of into those things for a while, at least, that your old man is into. I don't know, man, because I was kind of the one where I didn't like to, my brother did everything with my old man and I didn't want to do anything. But then looking back, because I was a mouthy kid that wanted to go out and do different things, I didn't want to sit at home and help build the deck. I wanted to go out and hang out with my friends. But I think looking back, you kind of look at some of those defiant moments and with a little bit of shame, I think. But I wonder if the old man has those same things, or they kind of look back and kind of smile when they see the success and be like, you know, I had something to do with that. You know, what is your thought on that?
Yeah, and I mean, I think he's really proud of us. It's kind of funny how it all boils down because I don't know, it's weird. Like we're all different, right? Like in growing up with two brothers, my older brother's an engineer and he's very technical. And like my dad's thing with him was like, I was thinking about it today too, as I'm putting in this post for a basketball pole or an in-ground basketball hoop, right? And it's crazy because I'm sitting there, Nolan is running back and forth. He's 3 and he's bugging the crap out of me and I'm trying to get it done. And I just thought about like, how did my dad get this shit done with 3 boys? Three kids that were doing the same thing that we were doing. Well, and then I started to think about it. It's like my older brother, as soon as he was old enough to start figuring out how to do things, was the helper, right? And I was kind of the like standby guy. And then my little brother was just kind of screwing around doing something else. And so I wasn't as helpful as my brother was, but like my dad just figured out ways to make it so that we could all help out and all be involved. And I'm sitting there like, Nolan, go inside, go with your sister, go do this because I'm trying to get this done and it's not easy. And you're going to push this pole over and, I'm trying to pour concrete and mix it and put it in there. I had to put like 5 bags of concrete in the freaking hole. So it's like mixing 1 bag at a time. And yeah, I don't know. Like, I feel like he just did a good job of figuring out a way to make it work. Right. And
yeah,
my little brother, and I think he liked us all the same, it's funny though, like sometimes I wonder if he just does things with me because I do them differently. Like I went up to go visit them a couple weeks ago and I was like, hey, I'm coming up there, but I don't want to, like every time I go up there, I got to help him do something, which I don't mind doing. But
he put you to work.
Right. And I want to help him. I don't mind doing that, but I also want him to go screw off with me. Like I want him to go golfing with me because they live on a damn golf course. It's beautiful. And I'm like, let's go golfing. And I knew when I asked him to do that, he would do it, but he was only going to want to play 9 holes and I want to play 18. And I was just happy to get the 9 holes, like that was kind of where it was at. It was like, if I play golf, I want to play 18 just because it's a good time and I want to continue to do that. But, I got to play 9 holes with him. We had good conversation when you do that. I mean, I think that's the real big thing. I don't know if it's the fellowship or the talk or the whatever, like interacting with someone and being able to spend some time with them. And he does it for me and I do it for him. Like I had helped him that day. I was like, well, he's got a storage unit he had to move some stuff out of and it helped him get it done twice as fast because he had 2 people helping him. And then we went golfing. So it's kind of a give and take thing, but I think when I was younger, it was more of a take on my part and not a give.
Right. Yeah. And I think that's part of being a father, right? Is, you make those extra sacrifices for the kids when you can. I think I mentioned before in the past that I spent a lot of the kids' time through school away from them because, as you know, I would travel all the time and I was only home 2.5 days a week for many years.
Yeah.
And, even my daughter said she wished that I would have been home more. She told me that, I think last year, the year before, we started talking about it because I'm at the point, like, I have conversations with the kids and we spend a lot of time with them.
Right.
But I don't really have any of those golf course conversations with either of them. I think Marcelo, the oldest, we take those opportunities and we have more conversation now than ever, but my wife still gets all that stuff. But I'll tell you a funny story and this will I'm glad you're sitting down. We'll put it this way. Okay. Because
this is going to be good.
We're recording this on Saturday, the day before Father's Day. And up to this point, neither kid has said, hey Dad, what do you want for Father's Day? Nor have they probably asked my wife. And earlier she goes, oh shit, tomorrow's Father's Day. I go, yeah, it sure is. So, she'd asked me what I wanted a couple weeks ago and I found a couple things. One of the things I bought myself because I'm impatient and it's very specific, a head unit for the Z. Mm-hmm. And then I said, I wanted basketball shoes because I'm starting to go to the gym more and I just have Ultra Boost, which are not basketball shoes. And so I picked out a couple pair that weren't expensive. And so she bought me one. So I already know that that's what I'm getting from her. But, it's like, what do you want to do? It's like, I don't know. I just assumed we were going to be cooking out and not doing much because around here, Mother's Day is always the bigger thing.
Right.
Because my mother-in-law lives here, Jaylene's a mom, Yvette's a mom, and it's just this entire day of festivities. It's damn near like Easter where everyone's just here all the time. So I've pretty much decided that that's what we're doing. But, in thinking back to prior years, I'm cooking or someone else is cooking. It's never a big deal,
Right.
and I go back to the Chris Rock thing where everything's about your mother and make sure you tell your mother you love her. That skit.
Yeah.
And all we get is a big piece of chicken.
I know. That's where I was thinking about. I was thinking about this.
Yeah.
I feel like we have this conversation every year. So I'm trying to decide which year it is that we're talking about, because it is like, I feel like you kind of get skipped over. I think last year they didn't even remember, or the year before, I can't remember. They're like, you didn't even get your Father's Day gift until like 2 weeks after you returned from wherever you were at.
Yeah. My daughter gave me one. My son didn't give me one like 2 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know what the deal was with that. He's kind of an asshole, but he's not.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't think that was intentional. He may have been moving or relocating, just had a lot of stuff, and I don't fucking care, but as long as you tell me Happy Father's Day, I'll probably get by default more booze, which honestly I don't actually want.
Yeah, you're getting overloaded.
But yeah, I just don't. But I'll take it.
Right.
I'm never going to say no if you buy me a bottle of booze. But it'd be nice to reach out and be like, hey, Dad, what do you want for Father's Day? Because there's a ton of stuff that I kind of want.
Mm-hmm.
I could see my son surprising me with like some wheel locks for the Z, because I've been talking about that for a bit and I still haven't pulled the trigger on them. But yeah, I'll probably get alcohol.
Do you need wheel locks for the Z?
I have some very rare Japanese wheels. BBS is a really popular brand as well. They're a size that fits. I mean, they're a 5x114.3 lug pattern. They could fit on a lot of cars.
Yeah.
And so, I don't really take it out, but when I do, no one's going to steal your wheels at Costco.
Right.
But if you ever go out somewhere and you're inside too long, someone could steal your wheels, So I think it's just a good idea, just in case.
Yeah, and that's a super
hotel
common
or something,
bolt pattern, because I think that's the same as like what a Civic takes. So, every Honda Civic can work.
Acura's, a lot of the K cars are 4x100, but this just happens to be a 5x114.
Yeah.
And so, So, Father's Day is Father's Day. It's never that big of a deal, but it's just little things. We don't want these huge parties thrown for us, right? But at the same time, it'd be nice, because no one's bringing us flowers. Like Mother's Day, my entire house is just filled with flowers because there's so many mamas, there's so many siblings and sister-in-laws, and so everybody thinks they have to bring flowers to the house. Plus, again, my mother-in-law lives here. But Father's Day, as of right now, recording this the day before, I don't know what's going on tomorrow.
Yeah, for me, it's a little bit different. My wife is pretty good about making sure that I get what I want. Like I told you, like hey, did you make a tea time? Like every year, it's like, you should go golfing. But every year when we do something, she wants to, this is the difference between me and her, is like, she wants to do something with the kids. I want to get away from the kids.
Yeah.
It's like, that's the way she sees it. She's like, you go golfing, I'll take care of the kids or whatever, and this time I'm just like, you know what, let's just go. I don't really, I'll probably get up in the morning and spray some weeds, because I gotta, obviously we got the 3 acres and it's kind of nuts and I need to spray weeds. Like if I take a weekend off of doing any work, we're screwed. It compounds itself. So I'll probably jump out and go do that. She's working today, so watching the kids is a little problematic when you're trying to do stuff. But
I think you should go out. Do you guys just ever go out as a family for Father's Day, just the 4 of you?
Yeah, that's what we're gonna do. So
okay, like Tatum's 11 now, right? Yep. And so I think it's important for her to see and start developing those memories, because Nolan doesn't give a shit, dude. He's freaking 3.
Yeah, he don't care.
So was Christine kind of freaking out once you weren't doing a tea time, and she was panicking, like, oh shit, what do I do? This was like the go-to, and the go-to isn't going.
Well, it was pretty easy, because all I said was, let's just go out to Koenig's, let's go out there, because they call it Silo Saturday, Silo Sunday, or whatever. Like, you can go out there and you can sit down. They have a food truck. They have the craft lounge out there. They'll make you cocktails. They have some live music. The distillery is kind of a really cool setting. I think Andy talked about it a little bit when he was on One Drink Wednesday, but I need to reach out to him because I'm going to have him sit down right here with me and do an actual interview with him.
You should. Yep.
Yeah, I'm going to for sure. I just need to, I'm going to see if he's there tomorrow. I don't know if he will be, but yeah, I mean, it's kind of a cool thing. They do it every weekend, and it's just a fun setting. You just go out there, you sit down. It's out on, they call it Sunny Slope, out in the edge of the river, and at their distillery, they have a barrel house. They have all kinds of cool stuff sitting out there. I'll try to shoot some pictures and send them to you. I think I've sent you pictures of the barrel house before, but like it's kind of a neat little thing that you can do on Saturday or Sunday if you want. And I just said, let's go do that. And she was like, yeah. Like she was looking for something to do, obviously. And that's perfect. She's like, we'll just go. It starts at noon. That's the only tough part. And like I just put Nolan down for a nap before we jumped on, and that's really his nap time, but he'll be fine.
Well, I hope you have a great Father's Day. I know I'll hear all about it. And whatever we do here, it's going to be fine. No expectation. The kids are going to come over most likely, and we'll do stuff. It's just always more low key for Father's Day, which is fine. But yeah, man, I'll talk to you on the other side of it. Thanks.
I did want to say, like, joining. I will be interested to see how it is this year because Cello is now a father. And since he is he going to have a different outlook on it, being a dad and knowing that you're his dad? And then also, how's your wife going to navigate that? Because we know how that relationship is. So that'll be interesting to see. I look forward to hearing that too.
Yeah, his first Father's Day, it's a good point. That'll be great. So me too, me too.
Yep. Well, I hope you have a great one too, man.
Thank you.
Yep.
Drew Bunkley, welcome back to the podcast. It looks like you just got back from a trip doing some Corvette stuff. Tell us about it.
Hey, Jay. Yeah, I had a great time, man. I was out in Pahrump, Nevada, out at Spring Mountain Raceway. That's home of the Ron Fellows Corvette Driving Performance School. So I had a great time. Drove the E-Ray, did the Z06 a couple years ago, and the Stingray before that.
Did they? Well, let's tell me about the E-Ray, because you had uploaded a video that people can go to and watch. It looked like you had a lot of fun, but I forgot what you texted me. But it was something so crazy. I got to get you back on the show.
Oh yeah, so when I was driving on the track, happened 2 times. I got a call from OnStar. Yeah, that's, they thought there was an accident in the vehicle. And the funny thing is, I did go off the track one time and they didn't call.
So explain what that is. I mean, we all know what OnStar is, but were you going so fast it thought maybe you fell off of something, or you came to an abrupt stop, or what happened there?
No stops at all. So what I think it was, maybe so they have the way their track was set up, there's this one area where it has like a dip. So essentially the car could almost get airborne. If you take it the wrong way, you could come off the wheels come off the pavement a little bit. And then obviously when you're taking certain turns, you're going over, they have the outlines of the cones and the curves where you're supposed to take your lines at. So when you're going over, it's real bumpy. I don't know what they call it. But I think what happened was, I think I triggered the vehicle and it maybe a wheel or maybe 2 went off the pavement. And I think that might have triggered the OnStar call. And in case people don't know, if you're in a vehicle, if you're in a GM vehicle and you're in an accident, the vehicle will automatically call OnStar to make sure you're okay if they need to send out emergency assistance. So it's a really good service.
I've heard, I think I've heard of something like that before, where maybe you have to disable it before you get on. And did they forget to disable it? I've heard something like that before when you're on a track with a vehicle that has that type of detection.
Yeah, they didn't make any reference of it. I did mention it to the instructors, and they just said that they would check the car out. So I've been to the track 3 times, never had an incident like that, never had really heard of it. I think they did mention that it has happened before. So, it's just maybe the calibration of the system.
So what was it like to drive the E-Ray, and compare that? Because you've driven the Z06, you've driven just the regular Stingray and the E-Ray, a lot of different cars, but just in comparing the 3 C8s so far that you've driven.
Yeah, so it's It's pretty much right there in the lineup the way it sits. You know, you have the base Stingray, then the E-Ray uses that same vehicle with the all-wheel drive system, which gives it about 125 horsepower to the front wheels, somewhere around there, maybe a little bit more. Gives it a total of 655 horsepower, and then the Z06 with the naturally aspirated engine. Same way on the track. It's in the same way. The E-Ray falls short than this from the Z06, but the Z06 is a track focused car. Um, the E-Ray does great, but it has that regenerative charging system for the front wheels, so it will deplete when you're on the track. So you have to know, if you're using it and you're doing a lot of track, you got to kind of know when to hit it so it'll recharge. But when you're just trying to concentrate on what you're doing, you're not thinking about trying to hit a button to regenerate.
So you have to hit a button usually. That's wild, man.
Yeah.
So how did you go off the track?
Just took a curve. It was minor. Just kind of, when I stopped, just came right to the edge of the track, but nothing major. We pulled right out, got back on the track, went around. So it was fun. Had a great time. I mean, the car is definitely different because of the all-wheel drive. When you're taking curves, when you can go in a little harder, you got to know when to come off the brake. You got to know when to ride in the turn. So it's a lot of lessons, man. And I'm really grateful and fortunate to be able to take classes like that GM offers to really let people know how much performance you can get out of these vehicles.
Right. I think you were telling me the price, and it was pretty reasonable. It was a 2-day course.
Yeah, so it's $1,000 if you purchase a brand new Corvette or Blackwing. They give you 2 days instruction on class and on track. You get one night free at their resort, and you can pay for an extra night. So I do the 2 nights. I pay for the extra night. That way I came in Sunday. Track day was Monday, Tuesday, and then you go till about 4 o'clock on Tuesday.
Are you excited about the ZR1?
Am I excited? Man, the exciting part is that America, man, is right now just pushing it with these American V8s and these cars, man. It's really I'm really excited because General Motors is not only able to compete with the big boys, the exotics, but right now they're able to take it to another level where they seem to be the ones that people are going to have to compete against.
Yeah, that thing, I saw it at Barrett Jackson, and that is an amazing looking vehicle. And now that the numbers are out and it's going around the big famous ring and breaking all these records, I wonder what it's going to be like after it's been out for a little while. How are people going to look at them? Because I think they've always liked the ZR1s for what they are. And I think this one might finally break that mold of being like, oh, that's really cool for a Corvette. And it's like, no, that's just cool. And with all these influencers and these, like the car influencers, I'll say, the ones that are like really into motorsports, that they don't care if it's a Lamborghini or a Ferrari or a ZR1 or a GTD. They just want something really cool that's awesome and has some fantastic engineering to it. I think I'm starting to see a lot more of them gravitate to this platform and specifically the ZR1. So I'm kind of excited to see one out in the street because the thing is visibly wider. It's bigger than a Z06.
Actually, it's not. As far as the Z06, it's the wide, the width of the vehicle is the same platform. Different hood with the air intake, different wheels, different spoiler, but body wise, it's the same size. I believe also the same size tires. But what's amazing about this car is that they're not finished with it, and they're talking about taking the C8 platform out for a while. Normally, we're anticipating the C9 coming up, but they're not done with it. They're probably going to have 1 to 2 more platforms, and because they've put so much money into this platform and the C8 is probably going to be around for at least another 4 to 5 years.
So you're saying there's no difference in dimension of the car itself, excluding like a giant spoiler? Because I know the intake on the side is a completely different intake. It looks the same, but it's bigger.
Yeah, the side. So they have a brake. They have an intake to cool the brakes. But no, yeah, the body, the size. I'm not gonna say 100%, but I am 95% sure that it's the same. It's the same width, same length, same body. Just some different panels for air intake.
Yeah, the panels are bigger. Yeah, for
Yeah.
sure. Like you can see it when you're up on the ZR1. It looks fatter for sure than a Z06, but it could just be the way they styled it,
Yeah, it's menacing, man, for sure. And it's funny because this car being as quick as it is and being as powerful it is, I've always been talking about the Zora that's coming. You add all-wheel drive to that, and you already see, a lot of companies have, like Hatterdy, they did that video where they did the Ferrari and the Lamborghini and the Corvette, where that ZR1 actually had to come back to go past the Lamborghini with that all-wheel drive system. Man, it's not going to be it won't be any questions. This is going to be a phenomenal car.
Explain to us, and I think you did this one of the last times you were on, but the Zora. Explain to us what is that?
So essentially what they did is the Zora is projected to be essentially the E-Ray to the Stingray is going to be to the ZR1. So they're going to use that front wheel drive electric motor, which was designed for this car. It's going to be now in the ZR1 to be their ultimate top performing all-wheel drive vehicle.
And that's kind of the same front wheel motors that they stole from the NSX, isn't it?
Yeah, I guess they took a little bit of some nice design.
They didn't steal nothing. It was a collaboration. That was just kind of a jab.
Hey, they say they took the Ferrari motor. What was that? The not the 488, but the one before that. Their flat plane crank.
Absolutely. You got anything else for us?
Hey, Jay, I appreciate it, man. That's about it, man. How you doing?
I'm good. Just trying to get all this stuff done. Get through this car news section and look forward to some new models and new cars that are coming out here.
All right.
Trying to keep tabs on all the car news out there.
Yeah,
what do you think of the million, I think 1 point something million that Ford had to recall for like a software program?
Yeah.
Software issue.
Yeah, you hear about the issues with the Dodge. They canceled their new Charger and they're having issues with acceleration stuff. That was a bad jump for them.
Yeah, one thing I'll say about that is I see that I don't know, I don't want to say if it's Motor Trend or one of the main outlets that are talking about it. So again, I don't remember if it's Motor Trend or not, but they keep blaming the Charger, the poor sales in the future on these tariffs. And 3,500 of these things are sitting on lots way before the tariffs even hit. The bottom line is it's a $70,000 EV charger that nobody wants for the price. You can blame future production on tariffs, but you're not selling what you have.
Yeah, the first thing was the price range. I mean, people bought Dodges because they were inexpensive cars that had huge V8s in them.
Yeah.
What I mean? They're not a top tier luxury $70,000, brand. To come out with a car like that at the gate was definitely something that hurt them. I mean, they obviously discontinued one of the models and they're not selling the ones that they have out now, and they're dropping the new V8. They just announced they're going to be dropping the V8 in that car. So
yep,
that to start with.
And electrification isn't cheap. I get it, but I think, and a lot of people say the same thing about the NSX, that they came out swinging with a higher price tag, but I can defend that all day with the NSX. I can't really defend it with the Charger RT, the starter model too, because a better one was supposed to come out.
Right. Yep.
All right, Drew, thanks as always for supporting the show and jumping on at the last minute to talk about Corvette and a few other random things.
Hey, appreciate it. Thanks for giving me a call, and until next time, enjoy the ride.
Until next time. So Autoblog has an article about Jaguar sales dropping. I think I saw somebody else post the Jaguar sales have dropped by 98%, and they are actively searching for a new marketing company. So I decided to look into that, and it's a little misleading. So what the article was saying on Autoblog is as of April of 2025, sales are down 98%, 97.5% from April of 2024. Big difference. When I asked GROK to look up the statistics, I said, hey, GROK, how have Jaguar's global sales been over the last 7 years? This is what GROK told me. It looks like in 2024, they sold 84,900 units globally. Not a lot of cars, but it's actually up at this point in 2025. It says in 2024, approximately 84,900 units were sold, which was an increase from 2023. So right now, sales are behind 2024's pace, but you can't really say that their sales have decreased by 97.5% without double-clicking into the data. And that's just as of April. So last year's April sales compared to this, it's not even whole year. It's 2024's April sales compared to 2025's April sales. 97.5% is a lot. But let's say you only sold 20 cars last year, right? You sold maybe 1 or 2 this year. It's a big dip. According to electric.co, Amazon is going to test their humanoid robots to deliver packages with the Rivian electric vans. A few years ago, the EV automaker Rivian had a huge contract with Amazon to produce 100,000 something units, which is probably great for Rivian because their consumer sales, they lose money apparently on every single vehicle. I am concerned about this. Over 20,000 Rivian electric vans are currently used to deliver Amazon packages. Right now, I think they are, and I'm going to post the link. You can kind of read through it. They're using humanoids in one of the Amazon factories to package stuff. Now, this is where I come in with some concern. I don't think the robots are going to take over like Skynet, and they will, through automation, AI, take a lot of our jobs. But think about being an Amazon driver today. That didn't exist 10 years ago. That's how a lot of people make their main money and side money. It's just like Uber and Lyft. You have these cyber cabs right around the corner. We have Waymos here. Speaking of Waymos, peaceful protests, 4 or 5 Waymos were lit on fire in LA, and then Waymo's like, we're done serving this area, and we sure as hell aren't going to serve on No King's Day. What did the Waymos do to anybody? That's those anarchists that I said earlier that have nothing to do with the actual protest. They just want to burn shit. But anyway, I digress. So you have the Waymos, which don't have a real driver, but they are guided by somebody off-site, kind of like a drone operator, I guess, sort of. Then you have the Tesla Cybercabs that are right around the corner. Then you have the humanoid and the Tesla robot. But I would say that there's a lot of people who make their money delivering packages. What about those jobs? In the warehouse. I used to work at a warehouse called Athletic Supply. It was one of the first jobs I had. And I was I don't know what they call it, product picker. The orders would come in, we'd pick up the pages, we'd look, and we'd basically go shopping. It's just like the people at the grocery store when you order groceries and you pick them up. They get a printout, and they walk up and down, they pick the items, they put them in a little baggie, or they put them in a little cart that has your name on it, so that when you show up and tell them what space you're in, someone pushes the cart out there and gives you your groceries. Who's going to do that? The robots? Fine, but those are jobs. Those are jobs. So that's the issue I have with this. I don't want to fearmonger it, but that's just a rational thought about this process. I get robots doing things that are maybe dangerous. Bomb diffusion, going to a volcano and collecting the magma, the volcanic stuff, and otherwise very dangerous. A volcanologist is a very dangerous job. You can send a robot out there without putting someone's life in danger. But I don't know about this. Finally, according to Reuters.com, a burning cargo ship carrying 3,000 vehicles abandoned off the coast of Alaska. This article is June 5th of 2025. A crew of a cargo ship carrying around 3,000 vehicles, including 800 electric vehicles, abandoned it off the coast of Alaska after a fire broke out on board. All 22 crew members were safely evacuated. They tried to put out the fire. I'm telling you, based on what we know, if one electric car caught on fire, it's a wrap. There's no putting out those fires. 3,000 cars. I think this is maybe the second or third boat that sank with many vehicles on it in the last few years. That's wild. This is the Car News. Hey guys, I want to thank you for stopping by the podcast. If you like what you saw today, go ahead and hit that like button, hit subscribe, assuming you're watching this on YouTube. If you're streaming the audio, please consider subscribing and leaving a positive review. Believe it or not, that does help the algorithm tremendously. And if you're in a position to help the podcast upgrade, please consider joining the Patreon, patreon.com, Hard Parking Podcast. For as little as $3 a month, you can get access to bonus audio as well as Patreon exclusive swag and free show swag. Also, special thanks to the main show sponsors, Right Honda, Right Toyota, Toyota of Huntington Beach, Claremont Toyota, and Gardenia Honda, Arcus Foundry, Autocannon, officially licensed Honda and Acura gear. Your support makes all the difference in this show. And if this is your first time checking this out, and if you truly enjoy this show, share it with the world, and I will talk to you all next week.
Now it's stripping time.
Ain't nobody got time for that.
Shut up!